Hello and welcome. I am Ladi Akiriduluali. Tonight, the wheels of justice begin to turn for the victims of the recent attacks in Benue as police arraign 6 suspects in the Makurdi Magistrate Court over the Dastardly Act. As concerns mount over insecurity across Nigeria, Inspector General of Police gives assurance of adequate plan to secure all parts of the nation. Minister of State for Petroleum insists fuel price increase is not on the agenda of the Buhari administration as PDP challenges APC-led federal government on subsidy payments. And at least 37 persons are killed following landslides and flooding in the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
And on business news tonight, Naira expected to firm against the dollar as investors' forex window as financial markets set to resume full trading next week.
On sports news, Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger to serve a 3-match touchline ban after admitting the Football Association misconduct charge.
And from Abuja, federal lawmakers assess President Buhari's New Year broadcast as some disagree with him on the issue of restructuring.
We begin tonight with the arraignment of 6 herdsmen before the Chief Magistrate Court sitting in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, for their alleged connection with the murder of 19 farmers on January the 1st in Guma local government area of the state. The Prosecution Counsel, Deputy Superintendent of Police Tahim Dennis, told Chief Magistrate Isaac Ajim that the suspects were arrested following investigations into the killings after violations of the Open Grazing Prohibition and Ranches Establishment Law. Another herder, Ibrahim Adamu, was also arraigned for violating the open grazing law with about 70 cows along Makurdi-Naka Road, while his accomplice, Hassan Musa, fled the scene. The 2 cases have been adjourned to March the 5th, but the defense counsel says the bail application for his client could be heard before the trial date.
It's the procedure of the court, it's the law. They are alleged to have committed an offense, and it has been adjourned pending further investigation and when the matter will be taken to legal advice, to the Ministry of Justice for legal advice. So the implication of that is that we have to wait until the legal advice comes out. But in the meantime, nothing stops us from making an application before the magistrate court for their bail.
The fact is that the command has an official stand on this matter. You have to meet the public relations officer of Benue State Police Command to give you the details. That's what I can say for now.
Meanwhile, the people of Benue State are asking the federal government to find an immediate solution to the spate of attacks by herdsmen on their communities before they resort to self-help. The request forms part of the resolutions reached during the stakeholders meeting held today in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, shortly after the police began an aerial surveillance of the troubled spots.
The police aerial TAC team on a surveillance mission to complement ground troops along the Benue and Nasarawa border. The Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of operations is assuring Benue indigents that anyone found culpable in the recent attacks will be apprehended.
But I can assure you that there are procedures, and if someone is being alleged to be planning and arranging to commit an offense, there are actions taken by police, and that action, I believe, have been taken. And if there's anyone that will be found among them to have participated actively in this crime, then he's going to face the repercussion.
This assurance is the first major word from security agencies since the state government has been demanding investigation into the threats by the herdsmen. Participants at this emergency stakeholders meeting want President Muhammadu Buhari to address the issue before it gets out of hand.
The security of this country depends on the president and not the governor of Benue State. I would suggest, if it's possible, apart from the Totim and Ochidoman, all our Festal chiefs and Sekolas chiefs should take a letter with this petition and deliver at the tribunal on Wednesday when there is ESCO. They don't need to see the president. They should deliver that letter. And from there, with all the information and pictures, go to the U.S. Embassy, go to the United Nations Nations for Human Rights Commission and go to other embassies and demand the court will take them serious.
There should be a committee, maybe one from the local government, to plan a strategy for self-defense.
The state governor, Samuel Ortom, is also vowing to stay on course with the implementation of the anti-grazing law in defense of his people.
There is no alternative. Well, this is global best practice. So here we are, united as people of Benue State, irrespective of our partisanship. Today, we have come with one voice to agree that we have to defend our land.
The outcome of the meeting, if actualized, will put pay to agitations among Benue indigents that government has not done enough to bring the perpetrators to justice and reassure them of better times ahead, particularly the security of lives and property.
Staying with the Benue killings, the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, today met with President Muhammadu Buhari to discuss the rising tension in Benue State and other parts of the country. After the meeting, the IGP told State House correspondents that the police is working hard to address the security issues. The police chief attributes the crisis to communal misunderstanding and asked Nigerians to learn to live with one another in peace.
Nigeria is well secured. You have to be frank with us.
Really? Why do you think the herdsmen killings escalate in parts of the country?
Like you said, like I said, you know, we have various levels of police in this country. I have a commissioner of police in Benue. I have the AIG in Benue, and yesterday I deployed my DIG there. DIG operation, he's in charge of operation. And definitely from the police angle, I think we are doing all we could to ensure that we maintain law and order in all parts of this country. Yes,
but it's not only the situation in Benue that is getting government's attention. The federal government's delegation that visited Benue State on Thursday on a fact-finding mission concerning the attacks today moved on to Port Harcourt, the River State capital, to find out the cause of recent tension in the state, particularly the recent killings. The Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazau, explains that he was in the state on the orders of the President to do an on-the-ground assessment of the security situation. His host, Governor Nyesom Wike, is however quick to raise an alarm over alleged plans by some politicians to make the state unsafe. He wants the federal government and the security agencies to treat the issues of security without bias.
His Excellency, Mr. President, has shown so much concern and is disturbed, particularly concerning the loss of lives and properties. Therefore, he has asked me to come and pay a visit to first carry out assessment of the general security situation, which later I'm going to have interactive section with the heads of security agencies. But in particular, he also wants me on his behalf to condole the state government and in particular the families who lost loved ones.
The peculiar nature of the state requires peculiar attention, and that we should not politicize the issue of security. I recollect that when in those early years we were having this destruction of our national assets, as a government, if you check the records, you'll see that River State was the least in terms of damage, because we felt that we owe it as a duty to protect our national assets. And so we did everything humanly possible.
Staying with security challenges, there's been another terror attack on Mbang and Baga villages in Numan local government area of Adamawa State, and the police is putting the blame on cattle rustlers. But the Numan local government chairman, Arnold Bolus, is suspecting the attack was carried out by herdsmen. Although the new police commissioner in the state, Abdullah Yarima, is not so sure of the casualty figure, he however confirmed that several people were killed in the attack. Numan has become a major target for Boko Haram insurgents. Recently, the community was hit by an attack between farmers and herdsmen, leaving many people dead and houses destroyed.
I want to admit to you that yes, there was a crisis there, and my first information I got is a cattle resident crossed from Taraba State to this bank. And what is the other town you call? Bali. You understand? And that is how the military came in and intercepted. I learned that there is a loss of life between the two sides. And we have so many plans on the ground, not only to stop it now, but to prevent future occurrence. But we cannot succeed, you understand, without the cooperation of those people who are living with or protecting within that area. Do you get what I'm saying? We cannot succeed without the cooperation of the Pachamas or the Numan people. So what I'm soliciting here is try as much as you could to assist me in confirming to them that all will be well, and very soon, I assure you.
We're still with the issue of security. Police authorities in Oyo State have been able to arrest at least 18 suspected hoodlums who allegedly carried out the 3 days of violence in some parts of the state capital, Ibadan, injuring many people and destroying property. The Oyo State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Abiodun Odude, while conducting an on-the-spot assessment of the affected areas, asked for the support of residents in finding a lasting solution to the violent altercations that are fast becoming rampant in Ibadan. The hoodlums from Foko and Itamaya had on Tuesday and Wednesday launched Operation No Mercy against their rivals at Okeado in Ibadan, injuring several people.
Peace. It's just this area boys trying to be funny with themselves, but we thank God they have not killed anybody, and they have not even killed themselves. We have been on this thing for about 3 days, persistently, day and night. They just come out, attack themselves, and withdraw, and we have been on their neck. But why we have come is to actually see what is going on and see if we can identify the leaders we can talk to and make sure that we keep this town as peaceful as possible. We are not going to give these boys a chance. Any of them we get, we'll deal with them according to law. 18 men have been arrested so far. So we are screening them and we're going to charge them to court.
Nigerian army authorities claim soldiers fighting in the theater of war in Maiduguri have injured a factional leader of the Boko Haram terrorist group, Maman Nur. A statement from the Deputy Director, Public Relations of Operation Lafia Dole, Colonel Onyema, says Maman Nur was injured during the ongoing artillery and aerial bombardments of Boko Haram enclaves in the Lake Chad region. The statement says several of his foot soldiers have also been killed by troops, while many of the insurgents who escaped are now surrendering to the Republic of Niger Defense Forces following the amnesty granted the insurgents by the government of Niger Republic. In part two, after the break, controversy rages over pricing of petroleum products and payment of subsidy. Please stay on with us.